This is FE Peer Review, and the date is February the 23rd, 2025. Why now? The evidence has always been there. Celebrate Truth and the Final Experiment. This popped up on my feed from a channel called Celebrate Truth. It's not a channel I'm familiar with. I don't think I've ever watched any of their videos. The person who runs this channel writes, "After much thought, research, and consideration, I've come to a new conclusion about the shape of the Earth. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I wish to act with integrity. I have changed my opinion based on new information that has been presented in Antarctica from the final experiment. I have not been paid, threatened, or compromised in any way." I went over and glanced at their channel since I wasn't familiar with them. I deduced from them what they had written that they had been flat earthers and were no longer flat earthers, and I looked at their channel and that made sense. So quick glance at their channel, and we've got lots of the kinds of stuff you would expect from a flat earth channel. No new videos in the last 4 months. Oh, but NASA and the firmament, faking space is easy, etc., etc. I suppose I should say congratulations or something like that, but what I think when I see that is, why now? The observations and evidence collected by the final experiment team has been available in one form or another for generations. Ernest Shackleton witnessed it and wrote about it in his journals back in 1914, 1917. This is a website called Project Gutenberg, gutenberg.org, and it's a huge library of books available to everyone for free. Anyone can look at this website for free, costs nothing. And you'll find at Project Gutenberg Shackleton's memoir, The Story of Shackleton's Last Expedition, 1914 to 1917, author Sir Ernest Shackleton. So these are his words, and what does he have to say? I did a search through and found a passage, continuous day. The period of continuous day was drawing towards its close, and there was an appreciable twilight at midnight. This was the middle of January. So there you have it, 1914. Ernest Shackleton is recording in his journal continuous daylight in the southern hemisphere in January. That's been available since 1914. Well, maybe 1917. I'm not sure. When was the book actually printed? Doesn't give the date here. Anyhow, you got my point. 1914. Ernest Shackleton down there saw 24-hour daylight in December and January and wrote about it and broadcast it to the world. Right here on YouTube, we have videos dating back more than 10 years showing the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, if you do a search for 24-hour sun, time-lapse, Antarctica, stuff like that, at the moment, a whole lot of final experiment things are going to appear at the top of the list, which is gratifying. But you'll also find, here's a video from 11 years ago showing the 24-hour sun. There's one from 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 9 years ago, 5 years ago. Lots and lots of video of 24-hour daylight in Antarctica. I remember finding one that was something like 31 days. Continuous video footage. Time-lapse, of course. 31 days of sunlight. I didn't see that one on the list just now, but there it is on YouTube. It's been available for more than 10 years. On any given day, anyone can see the live streaming webcams at the various Antarctic stations like McMurdo. So we don't even have to go there to see it for ourselves. Here's the McMurdo station website, and there's the webcam. It's going to refresh in 20 seconds, it says. There you see it. I looked at it real time when the TFE folks were down there at Union Glacier. And what did it show? 24-hour daylight. There are other stations in other parts of Antarctica at completely different longitudes that also had 24-hour daylight at the same time. Anybody could do that. Anybody can look at those webcams. They're there every day to be seen for free on the internet. Here's another one for you, the Discover satellite. It's out there way past the moon looking back at Earth. And every few minutes, it takes a one-frame photo of the Earth. It's far enough away that it can capture an entire hemisphere in one frame. And what do we see? Well, this is today. And if we look down here, we see Antarctica. If you had looked at this in December, when the TFE folks were down there doing their business, you'd have seen the rotation image by image, and you'd have seen that the Union Glacier part of Antarctica was in 24-hour sunlight. That's absolute confirmation that that part of the world gets 24-hour sunlight, and it's been doing that every year for a very long time. This website's available to everyone for free. All you have to do is look. Why did it take this particular group of people before you, Celebrate Truth, were prepared to seriously consider the evidence? Is it because you didn't trust all those other sources, but you trust these folks? This brings us to my next question. Why didn't you trust all those other sources, independent from each other and all observing the same thing? Why the claims of hoaxing, deception, and lies? You may say you had your reasons for not trusting them, like Jaron said when I asked him. But the fact is, they weren't lying. They weren't deceiving. It wasn't a hoax. You were wrong. You were wrong not only about the shape of the earth, but more importantly, you were wrong to think you were being lied to. They were telling you the truth. The truth, Mr. Celebrate Truth. And you were rejecting it because you lived in the false idea that they were fundamentally liars. I have one last question and then a challenge. Why did you think, and perhaps still think, that all those people out there who are devoting their lives to advancing our knowledge of the universe can't be trusted? To reiterate, to put it another way, same question. Now that you know you were wrong, and the information they had was correct, the truth, what solid evidential basis do you have for that extreme level of distrust? Finally, I challenge you to ask yourself what feelings it gives you when you imagine yourself being part of a select few who have access to the truth, and how it feels when you realize you aren't really among a rare select group with hidden knowledge, that you are really just another normal person like the rest of us, 8 billion. I add this appendix because, unfortunately, it's necessary. I know someone will come along, as they did the last time I made a video like this, and they'll say, "So you're saying we should believe everything we're told?" No, I'm not saying that. If you write that, you are simply creating a straw man to block out the message I am saying, and you desperately need to reject. I'm saying use your critical faculties. Don't be gullible. Don't be an unreasonable skeptic. Use your reason. And while you're at it, realize that you can indeed trust other people and learn from them. You don't have to burn yourself trying to reinvent fire. We don't live in caves anymore because we had the good sense to learn from our ancestors and build that knowledge for future generations. We, not me, not you, we are all in this together.